sorry to startle you there, but whoa, how did you feel? Perhaps you jumped in your seat, or your heart rate increased, maybe even you got sweaty palms? Thankfully, you can attribute all these symptoms to the feeling of fear, a feeling that has meticulously evolved and excelled in the primate lineage. Whether it's the fear of public speaking, or the fear of snakes, or even the fear of tests, whatever the fear is, all primates share this feeling. Before we start, let's define what a primate really is, since we're going to be talking a lot about them throughout the video. Primates range between prosimians, such as the lemur, to monkeys, to apes, and to great apes, such as us humans. The order of primates features a wide variety of mammals that share common traits and physiological features between each other. For example, a big brain with a large dome cranium to protect it is one of them. They also have 5 fingers, forward-facing eyes, and exceptional visual and olfactory sensory systems. As you'll learn throughout this presentation, the evolution of fear is an important factor of the development of some of these features.
In primates, the fear response begins with the detection of specific stressful stimulus, which can be visual, olfactory, or somatosensory, that triggers the fight or flight pathway in the brain. The processing of fear begins with the basolateral amygdala, where the brain processes the sensory inputs that are fear-specific. This engages distinct regions of the amygdala and hypothalamus. The pathway continues to affect the periaqueductal gray, a region of the brain responsible for pain modulation. This process triggers one of 2 fear pathways, either the low or the high road. The low road pathway involves the fear signal traveling through the thalamus before reaching the amygdala. The activation of the amygdala is critical for the production and chemical response associated with fear. This activates the fight or flight response and prepares the body and brain for conflict. This low response is considered more primitive because it doesn't travel through the more complex regions of the brain. In the high road response, which is found in primates, more complex regions of the brains are activated, known as the cortical components, which allows for evaluation and risk association. This allows these species to think before acting out their decisions. However, it is a slower process than the low road response overall.
For example, about 60 million years ago, the development of venomous snakes provided a deadly threat to the predecessors of monkeys and apes. Some primates met this challenge by sharpening their ability to detect snakes in order to avoid and escape them. Snake detection theory is one that believes predatory pressure from venomous snakes allowed natural selection to favor primates who were able to quickly recognize snakes. As a result, many primates currently are able to gaze their attention to a snake. A study was conducted in 2017 by Dr. Suarez and her colleagues, where they subjected a group of people to photos of snakes, spiders, and birds. At the end of the experiment, they found that the subjects had a higher response of attention towards snakes compared to birds and spiders. Even more interesting, they found no significant difference of attention between the birds and spiders. This fear of snakes, more so the act of attention to snakes, is common in all primates as a direct result of the potential harm venomous snakes pose to us. This type of fear has evolved over millions of years and is still common in monkeys, apes, and even some humans today.
Fear conditioning is important for animals to associate certain stimuli with danger to minimize unnecessary risk-taking. The conditioned fear response differs from other responses by involving the hippocampus, that is theorized to integrate new stimuli with previous experiences so the animal can act accordingly. This system is controlled by genetics such as the steroidogenic factor 1 expression in animals, which affects the endocrine system and the release of hormones such as epinephrine in the fight or flight response. This genetic component allows for the fear pathway activation to be inherited by offspring.
Fear responses arises from the perception of danger. The fear is an innate response that serves survival by generating appropriate behavioral responses to a fearful situation. For this reason, it has been preserved throughout evolution. Each organism responds differently to a threat. All responses have neurobiological foundations that's necessary for survival. Depending on the circumstances, there is a need for each instinctive response.
Here we will discuss some of the most common responses to fear. The most common is the fight or flight response. The body's sympathetic nervous system is activated due to the sudden release of hormones that prepares your body to either stay and deal with the threat or to run away to safety. This results in an increase in heart rate, blood pressure, breathing rate, and muscle tensions, including the muscle attached to the hair follicle, producing phylloerections, also known as goosebumps. After the threat is gone, it takes between 20 to 60 minutes for the body to return to its pre-arousal levels.
The second response is the act of freezing. This is a paralyzing response to fear. When activated by a real or imagined threatening stimuli, these neural connections can cause the body to automatically freeze.
The third is fright, which is the panicking or sense of awareness of an organism in response to a threat. Tent in befriending is the act of befriending those around you in times of stress to increase the likelihood of survival, since a group is more likely than an individual to overcome a threat. For example, this response is a protective mechanism used by both the female and her offspring.
Common symptoms correlated to feeling fear include rapid heartbeat and breathing. This is when the body increases its heartbeat and respiration rate in order to provide the energy and oxygen to the body that will be needed to fuel a rapid response to danger. The second is pale or flushed skin. As the stress responses start to take hold, blood flow to the surface areas of the body are reduced and flow to the muscles, brain, legs, and arms are increased. You might become pale or flushed as a result, as blood rushes to your head and brain. The body's blood clotting ability also increases in order to prevent excess blood loss in case of injury.
The third is dilated pupils. The body prepares itself to be more aware and observant of the surrounding during times of danger. This allows more light into the eyes and results in better vision. Lastly, trembling. In the face of stress or danger, your muscle becomes tense and primed for action. This tension can result in trembling or shaking.
As you may have caught on, the purpose of fear is for survival. Being able to express this feeling allows you to compete and overcome fear, allows you to recognize and escape behavior, can lead to greater development of the brain, and in total allows you to survive the situation. Survival intelligence is the organism's ability to study its environment by minimizing local threats and adapting to them in changing ecology. For example, snakes have played a key role in the evolution of primates. They have allowed certain visionary skills to develop in order to survive the threats of snakes. As a result, vision separates primates from other mammals. Ancestral primates have studied snakes by approaching them and vocalization. So you may have noticed that not all humans fear snakes. In fact, there are some people present who love them. This is also found in other members of the primate lineage, but instead, this one special primate does not love the snake. It actually preys on them. The capuchin monkey has been observed to throw rocks and hit snakes with sticks in order to defend themselves and other animals from snakes. They are capable of distinguishing between venomous and non-venomous snakes and can act appropriately towards their threat. In fact, they actually mob together and prey on the non-venomous snakes to consume them without presenting any symptoms of fear. This concludes our video. However, there are a few key concepts we can summarize to help you drill out what was discussed. First, it's important to understand that fear does not begin until the signal of stress that stimulates the brain. This signal of stress can be conditioned over generations until its activation pathway can be inherited as a genetic component. Secondly, there are several responses to fear, and it is a subjective feeling among individuals. Organisms can respond using the fight or flight method, by freezing, or by exhibiting fright, all of which display the same symptoms such as trembling or increased blood and breathing rates. Third, the feeling of fear is essential and can be attributed to the exceptional development of primate brain complexity and sensory outputs. Without fear, our visual and olfactory senses may not have been as remarkable as they are today, and our ancestral lineage may not even have been as diverse as it is today. In the end, whether you fear snakes or you actually love them, we primates and a majority of other animals display the symptoms and recognition of fear. This concludes our video. We hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.